At the same time, Ferrari was doing the same program. So fuel for the race, they did 57 laps, and we were slightly faster.
Did Alonso really just say that? That Aston Martin have better race pace than Ferrari? This is heresy. Now, we know Fernie's always been a merchant of chaos, but this is unprecedented levels of gas from the Spaniards, surely. Well, if Lance's billionaire daddy has anything to do with it, then Aston might be closer than you think. Because to anyone who'll listen, Papa Stroll has made his intentions crystal clear.
And when I get excited about something, I get very passionate. And when I get very passionate, I win. The building, as you rightfully point out, is one step. The people are another step.
And the big fella is putting his money where his mouth is. Because by tools, he's talking infrastructure. He's talking £200 million worth of Silverstone mega factory. But this won't be operational until May this year, so no upside for 23 then. But as for people, well, Papa Stroll has got his checkbook out again, hasn't he? And made some key signings in 2022. In comes ex-Red Bull chief aero engineer Dan Fallows. With 14 years worth of experience shadowing the ground effect geek himself, Adrian Newey. That's aero expertise on deck. In comes ex-Mercedes chief aerodynamicist, now deputy technical director at Aston Martin, Eric Blandin. And these two technical whizzes joined in April 22 and July 22, which is certainly long enough for Fallows to craft the AMR23 in his very Adrian Newey shaped image. Oh, and by the way, Fallows has been tweeting about winning with a team not named Red Bull since 2017. Make of that what you will. Ambition any. And on the car, well, there are no original stories here. Just as his mentor Adrian Newey was famed for doing, Fallows has exhibited zero technical arrogance, cherry picking the most innovative facets from other cars, Ferrari-esque gullies, Red Bull side pods, Aston's own winglets, and there's even chatter on the grid of Aston Martin being able to run their AMR23 like Red Bull 10 to 15 millimeters lower than the other 8 teams on the grid. Chef's kiss for downforce. But by now we all know that it isn't the strength of the individual bits and bobs on the car that will yield dividends. This is why Mercedes can't just bolt on the Red Bull side pod to the W14 design concept. What's mission critical here is how the design features talk to each other to manipulate airflow for best effect. And if testing is anything to go by, let's just say that these design features won first name terms. Because on day 3, Aston Martin did something very special. A race simulation on C3 tyres where we saw negative degradation. What is that even? Rather than losing time over his stint as you would expect, Alonso simply got quicker and quicker, causing F1 journos to lose their mind.
Aston Martin, the great story of this test, and you've got them 4th. You haven't got them 4th.
No, I've got them 3rd.
Oh, breaking news here.
I've got them 3rd and potentially even a little bit closer to Ferrari than that.
But the time when Fernie did his eye-catching stint, temps were perfect, and what's more is that the track had been nicely rubbered in, and reliability concerns too, as Drugovic's car stopped very early on day 1 of testing owing to an electronics problem. And as grizzled F1 scribes, we know that the apex predator in testing is total laps completed. Read into testing data as much as we want, that's the only thing that matters. So it doesn't make for great reading that Aston Martin was 7th of 10 in terms of laps completed, especially since every lap is worth its weight in gold in 23 now more than ever. But that being said, this is F1, a piranha club where the odds are stacked distinctly against minnows like Aston, rising up out of mid-pack obscurity to topple the might of Mercedes and Ferrari. This just doesn't happen in F1, right? Wrong. Because the Papa Stroll's point about people with the right personnel, Brawn Mercedes did exactly that, holding off the might of Red Bull and McLaren to claim both the drivers and constructors championships that year. But if you ask me, the real game changer here, the thing that tips Aston Martin over the edge, won't be tech whiz Dan Fallows, I know, nor will it be the 200 million mega factory. It will be Fernando Alonso. Because experience, let's remember, is as great an equaliser in F1 as you'll ever find. And at the ripe old age of 41, Alonso has this in bucket loads. Couple that with God tier level aggression and weapons grade level resilience. Some will say he can be unsettling to the team, disruptive even if he doesn't get his own way. And he can, but the real clincher here is this. For every crash gate, there is a 130R moment. For every spy gate, there is a Baku 18. For every petulant outburst, there's an equal and opposite moment of genius. And so for Aston Martin in 23, the difference maker has a name, and his name is Fernando El Plan Alonso.